there, quilty friends! It's Carolina Moore, your favorite sewing and quilting YouTuber, and in addition to being your favorite sewing and quilting YouTuber, I am also an Art Gallery Fabrics celebrity. I only sew with Art Gallery Fabrics. I absolutely love the feel, the look. They are my favorite fabrics, and it's all that I sew with here on the YouTube channel. Today, I thought I would do a sew through of Art Gallery Fabrics' most popular pattern. This is a free download on their site. It's called the Astrodelic Quilt, and this month, Art Gallery Fabrics is actually doing a contest with this quilt pattern. So go down to the description so that you can get the link and all the details for the contest. And I'm going to show you how easy it is to make this quilt. Let's get started. We are going to make Art Gallery Fabrics' most downloaded pattern, which is this Astrodelic quilt out of Abode Fabrics. I've downloaded a couple things and printed them out in addition to getting our fabrics ready. So this is the actual pattern, the Astrodelic pattern, which we will be using, and it has all of the instructions. Their instructions are fully written out and illustrated. They're so good. We'll be following these instructions as we make the quilt today. And you can see it finishes at 42 inches by 42 inches. So it's like a perfect baby quilt, or like throw over the back of a couch for decor quilt. Darling. Okay. And we're going to be making it out of Abode Fabrics. So what Art Gallery Fabrics does every time that they have a new fabric line come out is they do a lookbook. They do such a good job on these lookbooks. It's full of inspiration of things that you can make with the fabric. And if they've remade one of their older patterns with this new fabric, they make this project sheet that tells you exactly the fabric substitutions. So in this case, fabric A is the solid fabric Monet, and it even has the fabric code on there, so you could type it in and find a shop near you that has it. Fabric B is Affinity Jade, fabric C, fabric D. So it goes through all the different fabrics. It shows you a picture of them so that if you have them in front of you, you know exactly what they are. And it gives you, it's your substitution list for the fabrics. So that is the project sheet for making this out of Abode. By the way, here's another project sheet so you can see this is making it out of the Sunrise Sunset fabrics. So we're going to be making it out of Abode, and we're going to be using this fabric, or this pattern. I've already put my fabrics in order. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and then fabric I, which is our background. I also have backing and binding, and we're using the AGF 2.5 edition binding, which is going to look so cute on this quilt. All right, so let's go ahead and start cutting out our fabric pieces according to our instructions. The instructions have your fabric requirements. So here it says fabric A, 1/8 of a yard, fabric B, 1/4 of a yard, and so on. Everything's 1/4 of a yard or 1/8 of a yard, except for fabric I, which is our background fabric, which we need a full yard of. Then we have our backing fabric and our binding fabric. And now we have our cutting directions. And our cutting directions are in order, so it's going to start with fabric A. We're going to need to cut a 3.5 inch strip, and then subcut it into 4 3.5 by 6.5 inch strips. And we're going to keep following these instructions for every single one of these fabrics. If you want to make this along with me, go down to the description, and I'll have the link to the pattern so that you can get all the cutting instructions and cut your own awesome Astrodelic quilt. All of our cutting is done, and that wasn't too bad. I've actually kind of laid out the first block. There are 2 blocks that make up this quilt, and they each have this kind of these squares that come through them, and then these spokes coming out that are made with a background and a foreground, a background and a foreground, a background and a foreground that are put together on the diagonal. So we're going to go ahead and do the first one. We'll just take a background, a foreground, put them right sides together like this. So just like it shows in the picture. And we're going to bring it over to our machine. Now I have this diagonal seam tape on my machine, and it's just not big enough. So I'm just going to fold this over the bottom corner here so I can get away with using diagonal seam tape instead of having to draw a line on the back. And then I'm going to follow that point all the way up. I'm going to do the same with the second one. Make that same backwards L shape. And then for the other two, we need to do it the other way, where we take our A and our I, we put them together like this. So we'll go ahead and sew both of these. Now we can trim this to a 1/4 inch-ish seam allowance. It doesn't need to be perfect. If you want, you can grab your rotary cutter and ruler and make it perfect. But this is one of those good enough is good enough. And then we're going to press each of these towards the non-background fabric, so away from the background fabric. And the instructions have us adding a strip to the background and then a cornerstone to the other strip and then putting them together and then adding all those pieces. I want to do this in a little bit different order just because of the way that I have it laid out. I'm going to go ahead and make all of my strips into the Astrodelic points. So I need to do that 2 more, 2 more, 2 more, and 2 more times. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8 more times. And then I want to go ahead and build the whole block. So I'm making 2 of this block and then I'll make 2 of the other block and then put it all together. But I like being able to just run things through really quick, and I think this will make it a little bit faster to put together. But if you want to just follow the instructions methodically, you totally can do that as well. Now that I've finished all my strips and turned them into these strips with points, I'm going to go ahead and add a cornerstone to the bottom of each of these vertical pieces. So just grabbing a cornerstone and then stitching it onto the bottom of all these vertical pieces. And then when I press these, I'm going to press them towards the cornerstone. There we go. I've added this cornerstone to all of the vertical pieces, and now we get to start putting our blocks together. So we're going to take the bottom and sew it to our big block, and then we're going to press towards the big block. Then we're going to sew this piece on and spin our seams. Then we're going to go again, bottom, press the seam up, vertical, spin our seams, bottom, press seam up, vertical, spin our seams. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, that's the first row on. Now we're going to do the second and the third, same way. Bottom, press up, side, spin the seams, bottom, press up, side, spin the seams. There we go. We have finished half of the quilt. So this is 2/4. These are all done. Yes. Oh, this looks so good. So we finished half the quilt. This is 2/4. And then I'm going to make the exact same thing, just in different fabrics. Here are the fabrics for the other half of the quilt. So we're going to make 2 more of the same block, just with this fabric combination. So let's go ahead and whip this one up. So the second half of the quilt is pieced because we made 2 more quarters, this time with the other colors. And so now it's time to put our 4 quarters together. Let's go ahead and take a peek at what this is going to look like. Doesn't that look so good? It really pops. Okay, we're going to put these 2 halves together and we're going to press towards the yellow. And then we're going to put these 2 halves together and we're going to press towards the yellow. And then we'll get to sew both of them together. And that will be the finished quilt. There we go. Oh, it's finished. Well, the top is finished. It still needs to be quilted and bound and have a label before it is a truly finished quilt. But oh, I love how this turned out. The next step is to figure out how I want to quilt it, and I think I want to hand quilt this one. I don't do a ton of hand quilting, but I really think it'd be fun to do some big stitch quilting on this, or even some like decorative kind of fun quilting on this. It means it'll take longer for it to be done and like a truly finished quilt, but I think it's going to add a lot of special to it. So I need to find some pearl cotton that's in the colors here on my quilt, and then I'm going to work on hand quilting this. I hope you enjoyed this video as we went through the steps of making the Astrodelic quilt. Remember, down in the description are all the details for how you can get this quilt pattern. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. I share lots of fun quilting tips and tricks all the time. You don't want to miss out on any of the other fun things I have going on, so hit subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. Let me know down below if you've made an Astrodelic quilt or if you are going to join in and make one as well. That's it for today, my friends. I will see you right here real soon. Bye for now.